why do you think this clown archetype resonates with us so much?
Oh man, I think I became interested in this whole idea of the clown when it was like the start of the year. I was in a lot of situations where I feel like everything I was doing was just completely like an act. A lot of things just felt like putting on this happy, personable persona and entertaining people, and in order to like fit in with the world around us, even though inside you're like, what the fuck is going on with my life and the world? And there's a lot of anxieties and everything. And also, I mean, for me, like, I work in advertising, and a big part of my job is to find interesting ways to sell things to people. And it felt like a very trivial sort of job given the whole state of the world. So that's when I started really resonating with the idea of the clown. And then as I was researching further into it, and also just talking with like my friends and scrolling the internet, I think it was a sentiment that not people shared, not necessarily to the same degree, some further, some less, but it's just the idea of being in public and feeling like we have to be one way and inside you're not. It's, yeah, in the state of the world.
Yeah, it's it feels like it's an internal thing. What I'm getting from that, it's like as humans we feel like on the outside we have to smile, and when we're actually like suffering inside, and so like all this like these there's the like king's like jester. I think it used to be back in the courts where the jester was the only one who would like tell the truth, because with jokes you can get away with that sort of thing, and I feel like we probably conceal that a lot of the time inside us. And yeah, I guess I would ask Joel as well, like, why do we feel like as humans like we have to kind of put a smile on all the time?
Well, I was just writing here. I was like, well, what to me do I associate with this idea of a clown? And to me, it's fake happiness that is the purpose of making others happy while you're not feeling that way. And I think about, I mean, obviously it's not going to be the case with everybody who does that as a job. There'll be people that love it. There'll be people that can get happiness from it. But I think about the imagery. Like I rewatched the first Joker film that came out in 2019 with Joaquin Phoenix. And that whole like first scene where he's putting his clown makeup on and he's like forcing this smile with his hands. It's just, there's something really quite dark about it. And you know that he's in this real pit of mental destruction. And then he's got to, go out and try and put on this happy show for others. So there's a superficial and fake and inauthentic element to it, which I think is why, to answer your question, Jacob, of why the archetype resonates, I feel like that's why. Because a lot of us feel like we have to conceal, in a sense, how we're really feeling, because sometimes it's not socially desirable to go and be like, guys, I'm having a really shit time. Everything's shit right now. Like you can't really, you don't do that in social situations for whatever reason. So in a sense, we do have to put up that mask. And then for your question about, why do we feel like we have to do that? I think, well, it's really interesting. Like I was reflecting just for a second on humor as such a multifunctional pattern of human behavior, because it's like a real important aspect of play and how we establish our social relationships and how we have maybe a light approach to life rather than letting the pressures and the challenges weigh us down. But also it can be used as kind of a defense mechanism in the way that people laugh at their own lives as a coping mechanism for the fact they're not happy about it, or you can say things you don't really mean or that you do mean that are a bit, I don't know, spiteful, but then just play it off as a joke. So it's complicated here. It's not as simple as just like pretending you're okay. I feel like we use humor and we use putting on this performance in a lot of ways in our life that people maybe don't realize at face value.
Yeah, also like none of us really know what we're doing. Like, no one knows what we're doing. So we're kind of, that's where the internal thing comes from, of kind of laughing through life and guessing. It's this massive, life is this massive folly, and so your point on concealment's interesting. It makes you think. It's like, even when someone asks like, how are you, and if you're really not good, you'll conceal that and you'll just say, I'm fine. And it's Yeah, how much are we concealing? A lot, I think.
Well, I think it's a matter of how comfortable you feel in that situation. There are some, if it's just like someone you've met on a train and they ask you how you're doing or whatever, there's just not the time and space, to be honest. But the worry for me then is we're moving into a world where people have less and less others in their life that they can actually answer the question of how are you honestly with. That's what I'm worried about. There is an element of, yes, we all have to go out into society and function and be a bit of a cog in the social world and just get on with it and say we're fine and move on. But that's only dangerous if then when you go home or when you pick up the phone, you don't have somebody that you can actually answer that question honestly to. Because if it stays in you for so long, it's a poison that will just waste away at you.
Isabel, did you find any like solutions to your feeling like a clown?
I mean, actually, what you're just saying, having people to be able to talk to, it's that I think is the solution. Truly, around when I made that reel, I think I was quite unhappy or quite like internally suffering, I suppose. But then, and my solution initially was to think my way out of it and read and be like, oh my God, so people in the past must have thought about this. What were their solutions? Didn't get me anywhere. I feel like I just had more and more thoughts. But then my friend dragged me out to the closing party of a restaurant that's near me. And I think that was like my first interaction with a bunch of random people and like strangers and friends in a while that I truly enjoyed. And I remember just having this moment of like, it sounds a bit silly to say, but it felt like an existential moment when I was like, right, this is what actually you're supposed to do. Like, this is what actually we're designed to do, like, as humans, talk to people, be social, connect with people. And since then, I've kind of made a point to try and apply all these, like, I don't know, philosophical, psychological principles that I read about or am interested in into my real world and my real life and create these spaces, like host events, bring people together. It feels so like simple and almost too simple to be the solution, but it has significantly increased my personal happiness, at least.